thing I know is that there's more remote jobs than ever in the, in the market. And so the breadth of the people that your candidate pool is just exploded, right? So
Yeah.
there's a lot more people. So how do you narrow that down to identify the right people to interview?
That's a great question. And there's what I call the myth of the top 5. So people will say, oh, Beth, just send me your top 5 people. Well, the problem is my top 5 people are maybe not Sam's top 5 people, and they're not Char's top 5 people, right? Because we're all looking for somewhat different things. So what I recommend is, instead of only spending time with 5 people that you're interviewing, because when you interview someone, if they walk into the door, there are times, and I know you know what I'm talking about, where you take one look at them and you think to yourself, I wouldn't hire you to walk me across the street, much less come in and do this job. And you know that within 2.5 seconds. Okay. So now you've allotted an hour interview, and now you have 59 minutes and 57 seconds to do something with this candidate that you know you're never going to hire.
So I don't mean to interrupt you. Are you talking about the, oftentimes we have the person that does the pre-interview, and then we have more of a kind of a panel interview. So are you talking about the pre-interview person?
So it's interesting because there's this, what they call a screening interview.
Right.
And I don't believe in those. And I don't believe in those because the person who's doing the screening is usually screening for a different criteria than the panel. And so what I advocate for is a shorter interview with the whole interview team, a shorter interview with more people, rather than a longer interview with less people in the beginning. So my first interview is 15 minutes long. And I ask the same 7 questions in the same order, every single candidate for every single position, but the entire interview team is present for those interviews.
So is that like a Zoom or obviously an online type of thing?
I do, the first interviews are over the phone. The second interviews are Zoom or some sort of video conferencing tool. And then the third interview in my process has to be in person. Okay. And the reason I advocate for an in-person interview at some point is, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, the amount of C-level executives that I have interviewed that have shown up drunk or on something, or can't form a sentence, or can't show up on time, or can't present well, or whatever the case may be, is alarming. So I don't ever hire somebody that I have not sat across the table from.